There's a place I have found in the shade on the ground, far from all worries and troubling sound. When I go there to be by myself.
Welcome to Contemporary World, and today we will be discussing the modern world system and global economic integration. Immanuel Wallerstein, 1974, proposes that modern world system is essentially capitalist in nature and possesses boundaries, structures, member groups, rules of legitimation, and coherence. He theorized this world system as one where some countries benefit while others are exploited. He classified the world into four categories according to their position in the world economy. Periphery states are source of raw materials. They are heavily exploited by reason of cheap labor, lower taxes, and weaker central governments. They depend on core countries for capital. They are less industrialized and urbanized, and their economies are usually agrarian. They have less developed infrastructures, and among these nations are Bangladesh, Bolivia, Burkina Faso, Burundi, and the Philippines. Semi-peripheral states are states and places of production and processing of raw materials. They distribute finished products to the core states. They are less developed than core nations, but more developed than peripheral nations. They are buffers between core and peripheral countries. Examples of these nations are Taiwan, South Korea, India, and South Africa. Core states dominate the capitalist world economy and exploit the lower states. They are characterized by high levels of industrialization and urbanization. They are capital intensive, have high wages and high technology production patterns. They have lower incidence of labor exploitation and coercion. Among these states are Japan, Germany, and the US. External states, on the other hand, maintain their own economic system. They are independent of other modern world systems, and they prioritize internal trade and economic sufficiency. The classic example of this is Russia. We go now to global economic integration. Global economic integration is the process where regions come into agreement to reduce and eliminate trade barriers and coordinate fiscal policies with the goal of increasing trade in the member countries involved. While global economic integration promises to improve allocation of natural resources, promote technology transfer, and enhance the living standards of the people, it is also taking blame for trade imbalance, increased financial market volatility, and ineffective domestic economic policies, says Khan 2000. What are the catalysts of economic globalization? There are four factors that are considered vital in the growth of economies towards globalization. First is regional integration. Second is trade liberalization. Third is foreign direct investment. And fourth is privatization and deregulation. Regional integration refers to the breaking of trade barriers in a particular region like Asia, allowing for the free flow of goods and services. It also includes the adjustment of fiscal policies and allow the migration of workers within the region. There are four types of regional economic integration. The first is the free trade area, which is the most basic form of economic cooperation. Member countries remove all barriers to trade between themselves, and member countries are free to determine their trade policies with other non-member nations. An example of this is the North American Free Trade Agreement, or the NAFTA. The second type of regional economic integration is custom union. This type allows economic cooperation as in a free trade zone. Trade barriers like tariff and taxes are removed between member countries, but unlike free trade area, member countries agree to trade with non-member countries in the same manner. The third is the common market, where trade barriers are removed, as well as restrictions on the movement of labor and capital between member countries. Under the common market, workers are no longer in need of a visa or work permit to work in another member country. The common market for Eastern and Southern Africa, or COMESA, is an example of this. And lastly is the economic union. An economic union exists when countries enter into an economic agreement to remove barriers to trade and adopt common economic and fiscal policies. Aside from this, the union may agree to adopt a common currency, like the euro of the European Union. Trade liberalization refers to the removal of trade barriers such as tariff and taxes on goods and services, thereby ensuring their free flow in member states. Foreign investors establish their businesses in another country with incentives like tax holidays and reduced corporate income tax. Foreign direct investment, or FDIs. FDIs happen when a foreign firm or individual establishes business operation or acquires business assets in another company in another country. It establishes effective control of the foreign business, or at least have substantial influence over its decision making. It brings capital to a host country and also acquired business knowledge, skills, and crucial technology. It creates business stability because foreign direct investments are long-term in nature. Privatization happens when government grants private companies permission to compete in the industry and enterprise. It also includes the turning of state-owned corporations and assets to private individuals and corporations. Privatization helps the government to save money and increase efficiency in management. Opponents against privatization, however, maintain that basic services and utilities like education, water, and electricity should not be the subject of privatization. We go now to deregulation. Deregulation is the reduction or elimination of government power in a particular industry to create more competition within that industry and encourage more participation from the private sectors. Republic Act 8479, known also as the Oil Deregulation Law, was enacted in order to liberalize and regulate the downstream oil industry in order to ensure a truly competitive market under a regime of fair prices, adequate and continuous supply of environmentally clean and high-quality petroleum products. The Oil Deregulation Law had removed government control on the pricing, exportation, and importation of petroleum products, allowing market forces to dictate oil prices.